I've seen a lot of people jump on the cheapest gaming laptops they can find, only to end up with a machine that chokes on anything beyond a couple of older titles and then sits in a drawer gathering dust. The regret that follows is real money down, performance up, and the whole experience feels like a bad trade. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The question with the msi Katana 15 is whether it actually flips that script and becomes a smarter, less regrettable purchase. When you start looking at a gaming laptop, the first hesitation is usually about the balance between raw power and everyday usability. You want something that can run Cyberpunk 2077 at 1440p with ray tracing on, but you also need a keyboard that feels decent for long study sessions, a screen that's bright enough for a coffee shop, and a battery that won't die the minute you step outside. The Katana 15 throws a lot of big numbers at you. A 15.6-inch QHD panel, 165Hz refresh, an Intel Core i7-14650HX, an RTX 5070, 16 GB of DDR5 RAM, and a 1TB NVMe SSD. Those specs sound impressive, but they matter only if they translate into something useful in the real world. Let's start with the display. A QHD 15.6 panel at 165 Hz is a rarity in this price segment. In practice, it means you can push titles like Elden Ring or Valorant into high-resolution mode and still see fluid motion without the blur you get on a 60 Hz screen. I tried a few games with the settings cranked to high, and the frame rates hovered in the 90,110 frames per second range, which is comfortably above the 60 frames per second ceiling of most monitors and well within the 165 Hz sweet spot. For a content creator who also edits 4K video, the extra pixel density makes timeline scrubbing smoother and color grading more precise, especially when paired with Windows 11's HDR support. The CPU and GPU combo is the next big piece. The 14650HX sits in the same league as the previous generation series chips, but MSI pairs it with the RTX 5070, a card that's a step up from the older RTX 3060 laptops you see for a similar price. In day-to-day use web browsing, office apps, and light photo editing, the laptop feels snappy. Apps launch in under a second, and multitasking between Chrome tabs and a Discord call isn't a struggle. When the GPU is taxed, the Cooler Boost 5 system kicks in. The fans are audible, especially during intense moments in Red Dead Redemption 2, but they keep temperatures in the low 80s Celsius, which is respectable for a thin 15-inch chassis. The trade-off is that the fan noise can be a distraction in quiet environments, so you might want to plug in a pair of headphones for late-night sessions. Battery life is another practical concern. MSI lists a 99 Wh battery, and on paper that sounds generous. In reality, you'll get about 56 hours of mixed email, streaming music, maybe a quick game at low settings before the charger is needed. If you're planning a marathon gaming session away from an outlet, that's a limitation you have to accept. The laptop shines, however, when you switch to productivity tasks. The 1TB NVMe SSD boots Windows in seconds, loads large projects instantly, and gives you plenty of room for both games and work files without needing an external drive. Now, who should actually consider this machine? If you're a serious gamer who wants a portable rig that can handle current AAA titles at 1440p, and you also need a decent workstation for school or freelance work, the Katana 15 hits a sweet spot. It's also a solid pick for streamers who want to run a game and an OBS session on the same laptop without a massive performance hit. The inclusion of a 1TB portable SSD in the package adds extra storage for large game libraries or video footage, which is a nice bonus for people who travel a lot. On the flip side, if you're looking for a budget-friendly option that will mostly run esports titles at 1080p, you'll probably find cheaper alternatives that give you more bang for the buck. Likewise, if you travel with a backpack and need a laptop under 4 pounds, the Katana's 5.2 kilograms, around 11.5 pounds, chassis might feel cumbersome. The fan noise, while not excessive, can become a nuisance in shared spaces like libraries or quiet cafes. And if you're a professional who relies on long battery life for on-the-go presentations, you might be better served by an ultrabook that trades raw gaming power for endurance. Value for money is where the Katana really distinguishes itself. Many laptops in the same price range still ship with a 1080p screen and an RTX 3060, meaning you